In the early 1940s, as Allied bombers pounded German cities and factories, the Luftwaffe found itself in desperate need of a radically new way to defend its airspace. Conventional fighter aircraft were becoming too slow and predictable against ever-increasing bomber formations. So, German engineers threw aside standard aviation wisdom and set out to create the world's first operational rocket-powered interceptor. The Messerschmitt Me 163 Komet. Conventional fighters rely on piston engines, or, at the time, emerging jet engines, to climb and intercept invading aircraft. But the Luftwaffe needed something faster, something that could scream up to bomber altitude before they could unload their payloads. Normally, increasing power, adding bigger wings, or refining aerodynamics would yield incremental improvements. But in wartime Germany, engineers realized only a rocket engine could provide the raw thrust and blistering climb rate they needed to meet Allied bombers head-on. Rocket propulsion held an alluring promise, nearly instantaneous thrust and an almost vertical ascent. Instead of lumbering down a runway, the Me 163 would roar off under rocket power, reaching altitudes in minutes that conventional aircraft took much longer to attain. The goal was to launch quickly from small airfields, slice through bomber formations with guns blazing, and glide back to land. An entirely new mode of aerial warfare. The Me 163 introduced a paradigm shift. It wasn't just a fighter, it was a point defense interceptor. If it worked as envisioned, it would revolutionize how the Luftwaffe defended crucial infrastructure. Without requiring lengthy runways, the Komet could operate from small, dispersed fields less vulnerable to bombing. If Allied forces destroyed major air bases, Komets, like defensive rockets, could still launch from hidden sites, climbing up to strike attackers at will. This was no pipe dream. During its flight test program, the Me 163 achieved speeds of over 600 miles per hour, at a time when most fighters were still struggling to break 400. But while its cutting-edge design promised great rewards, it also posed equally daunting risks. Central to the Me 163's design was its rocket engine, fueled by two highly volatile substances known as T-Stoff, a hydrogen peroxide mixture, and C-Stoff, a hydrazine-based fuel. When combined, they produced incredible thrust, but also harrowing danger. Even a slight leak or mishandling could result in explosions, making ground crew operations perilously risky. To keep the aircraft as lightweight and streamlined as possible, Messerschmitt's engineers did away with traditional landing gear. Instead, the Me 163 took off from a small wheeled dolly that was jettisoned once airborne, leaving the plane to land on a retractable belly skid. This minimized weight and drag, allowing for maximum performance during that brief, powerful rocket burn. Once the propellant ran out, typically after just a few minutes of flight, the aircraft became a glider, relying on the pilot's skill to guide it safely back to the ground. Despite the dangers, the Me 163 did see frontline service starting in 1944. After an almost vertical climb that took them above the bomber formations, Komet pilots would dive through the enemy ranks, unleashing their cannons and creating chaos. In theory, multiple Komets attacking in waves could devastate Allied raids before they even reached their targets. However, real-world challenges quickly became evident. The Me 163's rocket burn lasted only a few minutes, leaving pilots with just one or two attack passes before they ran out of fuel. After that, they were essentially high-speed gliders, vulnerable to escort fighters. And because the Komet carried limited ammunition, pilots had to make every shot count. In practice, the Komets did not achieve the decisive impact German high command had hoped for. Testing and operational experiences revealed the trade-offs in adopting such radical technology. The climb rate and top speed were unmatched, but the complexities of rocket propulsion hampered reliability. Many Komets never made it back from test flights or training runs due to engine failures and fueling accidents. The Luftwaffe's logistics system also struggled with the demanding maintenance and specialized fuels. As the tide of the war turned against Germany, these support issues became insurmountable. The Komet was a glimpse into the future of high-speed, high-altitude interception, yet it arrived too late and with too many flaws to change the war's outcome. Even so, the Komet's legacy endures. It forced engineers to pioneer new techniques in aerodynamics and rocket propulsion, laying some of the groundwork for post-war rocketry and jet fighter development. Allied forces were so intrigued by the Komet's radical design that captured airframes and documents were eagerly studied after the war. While the Komet ultimately proved too dangerous and short-lived to make a decisive impact, its story remains a testament to human ingenuity and technological ambition.